The shores of the Hormuz Sea, separate from the ocean, and extend in a straight line.
People of the lands they have lived in for thousands of years. No matter how far back we go, no matter how deep we go, we see traces of Kurdish culture in these lands.
The Medes, who were called Kurds.
The Medes used to call themselves Aryans.
Are you ready to join us on a fascinating journey from the depths of the universe to the mountains of Kurdistan? In the first episode of this series, where we explore the history of the Kurds and Kurdistan together, we will discover how the universe, galaxies, our solar system, Earth, and finally Kurdistan were shaped, starting from the birth of the universe. Together, we'll gain a deeper appreciation of our world, our homeland, and life itself. We emphasize the importance of protecting nature with an ecological consciousness by focusing on the delicate balance of our countries and our world's ecosystem that will last for months. Who knows? It might even last for years. I carry flowers in my hands to honor and pay tribute to the Neanderthals of Kurdistan, remembering them with taking formation of Kurdistan's geography, and we will pursue the earliest human traces in these ancient lands. After witnessing how people lived in the Paleolithic era before adopting a sedentary lifestyle, transitions into the Mesolithic period. Then, during the Neolithic Revolution, we will witness how the people of Kurdistan discovered agriculture and animal domestication, resulting in the creation of a settled and organized way of life. In this way, we will see that the foundations of world civilization in human history were laid for the first time in Kurdistan. Thus, the ancestors of the Kurds established the foundation of all world civilization in the triangle of Urfa, Ahmed, and Mardin. By focusing deeply on the Mirazan culture, which pioneered this great transformation, we explore the fundamental role these lands played in the history of civilization. In the following episodes, we will witness how different communities and peoples who settled and lived in Kurdistan over thousands of years. It refers to the land mentioned as Kardukia and Kurti in ancient sources thousands of years ago. Kurdistan is mentioned in a letter sent by Payel, the general of the Kurdish Marwanid state, from the Urfa front to the capital, Maya Fartin, ancient Silvan. Kurdistan is the vast region that the Prince Sharaf al-Din Bitlisi, also known as Sharaf Khan, described in his 1597 book, Sharafnama, A History of the Kurds and Kurdistan. He wrote,
Borders of the Kurds' land begin from the shores of the Hormuz Sea, separate from the ocean, and extend in a straight line to the cities of Malatya and Marash.
Kurdistan is the region that Ottoman Sultan Abdul Hamid II indicated on a map drawn under his rule, showing lands extending from Luristan to Diyarbakir. Ancient land known as Kurdistan is the ancient geography where world civilization was born during the Neolithic Revolution. What is a Kurd? Who are the Kurds? Who are the ancestors of the Kurds? Where does the Kurdish language come from? All this, with the support of you, my followers, it is absolute, which will be published in 2025 in the section
For thousands of years. Therefore, these lands. The Kurds are a people who have developed internally over time, and they have also integrated newcomers who settled in these lands. Kurds are not just the descendants of one people. See traces of Kurdish culture in these lands. The Kurds are a people who have developed internally over time, and they have also integrated newcomers who settled in these lands. Kurds are not just the descendants of one people, they are the descendants. In fact, Kurdish cultural traces go back more than 50,000 years, dating all peoples. We see that the Kurds continue to live and preserve their culture, which spans thousands and tens of thousands of years.
As Dr. Izadi pointed out, the culture and ethnicity of the Kurdish nation have been shaped by the merging of 5 main cultures throughout history of the Kurds. These 5 cultures are 1. Have been shaped by the merging of 5 main cultures throughout history. In other words, the peoples who developed these cultures are the ancestors of the Kurds. These 5 cultures are 1. Zarzian culture, communities, from 23,000 years ago. In Kurdish, it is called Zerzi. 2nd, Mirazan culture communities, from 13,000 years ago, also known as Halaf culture, communities, from 8,500 years ago. 4th, Hurrian culture, peoples, from 6,000 years ago. 5. The Aryan culture, 23,000 years ago. 23,000 years ago, the Zarzian culture communities living in the Zagros mountains of Kurdistan made remarkable advancements, taking the first steps towards civilizing all of humanity. The transition from the Zarzian culture to the Mesolithic period. Kurdish. Mirazan culture of the Kurds. The Mirazan culture community. Mirazan culture of the 2. The ancestors of the Mirazan culture of the Kurds, 13,000 years ago. In academia, this culture is the Mirazan culture communities laid the first foundations of world civilization in Kurdistan 12,000 years ago. This process continued until 8,500 years ago. Traces of the 12,000-year-old Mirazan culture still persist in Kurdish traditions today. 8,500 years ago, this center of faith and culture was covered and hidden, and the Kurds continued to visit it until the 2000s without knowing what lay beneath. Through these visits, they preserved a 12,000-year-old tradition. When the hidden structures beneath the ground were unearthed, it was discovered that the symbols and drawings in this area carried the same meaning and purpose as the rituals practiced by the Kurds. In the Mirazan video, I explain these details and examples in more depth. This will certainly astonish you. To understand Mirazan culture, one must delve deeply into Kurdish culture. The symbols of the Mirazan culture unearthed today remain sacred to the Kurds. The real name of this prehistoric center of belief and culture is Mirazan. However, due to assimilation policies aimed at erasing the Kurdish language and culture, a fabricated name, Göbekli Tepe, was given to it. This name change is part of an effort to assimilate the language and culture of the indigenous Kurds. The Kurdish name, Mirazan, which means to wish and to desire, reflects the purpose of the rituals the Kurds have maintained here for at least 12,000 years. This name is also found in ancient and classical sources. It is unethical and immoral to erase the name Mirazan and replace it with Göbekli Tepe as part of assimilation policies. For those who don't know, the Turkish state spends the vast majority of its budget on eradicating ancient languages and cultures, especially Kurdish. It is known that in the last 30 years alone, Turkey has spent more than $500 billion solely to eliminate the Kurds and the Kurdish language. Archaeologists, academics, and cultural heritage advocates who oppose assimilation policies aimed at erasing ancient languages of nations should restore the real name of this culture as Mirazan at the International Neolithic Congress. This is both a scientific and moral responsibility. Here is the Kurdish male name, Muraz, which 3. The Kurdish ancestors of the Halaf culture, 8,500 years ago. From 8,500 years ago until 7,000 years ago, the world's civilization advanced even further, and the entire region of Kurdistan was united under a single cultural framework. The peoples of the Halaf culture are considered the ancestors of the Kurds, which ranks among the most elegant and aesthetic artifacts of the ancient world. Even Greek pottery, celebrated for its grace and refinement, 6,000 to 7,000 years to reach the level of artistic mastery that the Kurdish ancestors had already achieved. In this video series, published on my Bed El-Bosel on Kurdish women in the region, these cultural markers demonstrate a continuity that spans thousands of years. In this video series, published on of these uniquely beautiful artifacts, the Kurdish ancestors of the Hurrian culture 6,000 years ago. The ancestors of the Kurds from 6,000 years ago are called the Hurrians, that is, the peoples of the Hurrian culture. From 6,000 to 4,000 years ago, the peoples of the Hurrian culture, through great sacrifice and honorable resistance, liberated Kurdistan and established a libertarian state system, the first of its kind in the world. Professor Dr. Mehrdad R. Izadi, and 6,000 years ago, and as the names of Kurdish tribes, mountains of Kurdistan, and settled in neighboring regions. These tribes from Kurdistan became ancestors to the neighboring peoples in the regions to which they migrated. While most other civilizations were ruled by dictators and despotic leaders, the Kurds, through their Hurrian ancestors, were choosing their own rulers for each city as early as 5,000 years ago. In this graphic, the names written in white represent the people of the Hurrian culture, one of the ancestors of the Kurds. For each city, as early as 5,000 years ago. In this graphic, the names written in white represent the people of the Hurrian culture, one of the ancestors of the Kurds. 5. Aryan culture ancestors of the Kurds, 4,000 years ago. This refers to the Indo-European speaking ancestors of the Kurds. In addition to the ancestors I have mentioned so far, are the Aryan peoples, who, from 4,000 years ago until 1,400 years ago, dominated Kurdistan, both culturally and politically. Ancient Aryan peoples, who spoke Indo-European languages, left deep marks on the formation of Kurdish identity. They also brought represent the civilization. But due to the influence of English, Trapatamis, according to the structure of their own language, years, this name gradually son and Barzana or Aryo-Barzanis. In fact, many other Aryan states also had kings who held this prestigious title. According to thousands of years-old original documents, the Medes, one of the ancestors of the Kurds, referred to themselves as Aryans. In fact, ancient Greek historian Herodotus noted that they were originally called Aryans before adopting the name Medes. The ancient Greek historian
was originally called Aryan. Aryan were hence
the Medes are referred to narrate his struggles. Written in 1307, Hethum, while describing
Thus,
Medes, the Aryan ancestors of the Kurds, are the founders of the Iranian country and civilization. In fact, the name Iran means the land of the Aryans. When the time comes, I will display the original documents on the screen and explain the term Aryan from its ideological use in the 20th century for racial purposes. These are different concepts. In turn, Mede history, all these channel and accounts named Bed El-Boseli, as it is a far more work